Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Cable Rose with Let's Talk Leadership. On the show today, we have a special guest. We have Mr. William Bailey, who is from the Bold firm. William Bailey has recently come into cross paths with myself, and so it's been an opportunity for him and I to kind of catch up. And I thought, what a great way to have him both come on the show and speak towards today's topic, as well as kind of see what Mr. Bailey's all about. So I'm going to introduce Mr. William Bailey.
Awesome. It was a pleasure to be here, Mr. Rose. As Cable mentioned, my name is William Bailey with the Bold firm. And some of the things that we do at the Bold firm is we simply help organizations, employers, business owners address specific issues inside their workplace. So we help with issues like morale. We help with high turnover. We do some sales training and some management development, things along those lines.
Well, that is great, William. So I know in the industry that we're in, we do a lot of talking. You and I are talkers. So obviously that's what we do. What was your thoughts when I said, hey, do you want to be on and talk about Star Wars? What were your thoughts when I said that and kind of gave you that option?
So I never, and we talked about this before, but I've never been the Star Wars guy.
Correct.
And so I guess I was born a little too late or a little too early to really get involved in that. But the more I talk to you, the more I listen to your podcast and some of the information you provide, it sounds pretty deep, pretty intense.
So I would tell you, Star Wars does have quite a bit of depth to it. There's a lot going on with Star Wars. So yes, I do agree with that one. And so I'm going to give the audience today's statement. I'm going to give them what you chose. I gave you about 3 or 4 to choose from. And I think this was the one that you grabbed, and we'll see why it resonated with you. So today's statement from Star Wars Clone Wars, episode 10, season 1, episode 10. Most powerful is he who controls his own power. I'll say it again. Most powerful is he who controls his own power. So when I gave William the list, this is the one he chose. And so I'd like to see, 1, why he chose it, and 2, what are his thoughts about that statement?
I like it because I think it's true. I think the person who has the ability to control himself or herself is the most powerful person in the room.
Okay. So I know you and I, in the realms that we are, right? We do a lot of EI or EQ, right? We talk about emotional intelligence, and we talk about the ability. Now, I will tell you, William, I'm kind of a hot-headed person. People have known me to have a short fuse, and as I grew into positions in the military and leadership roles in the military, you have to learn to be able to control that emotion. And so I like the word power here, because sometimes people hear the word power and they feel like that's a negative thing. Like, oh, I have all the power. That's not what I'm talking about. Power can be, like you just said, that control of how we handle something, right?
Yeah.
And so can you, I don't know, this is, again, we're off the cuff, we're not scripted or nothing. Is there anything that pops out, like a scenario or story or a moment in your life where you can think of either yourself or even someone you're engaged with or working with, where you could think, man, that could have been handled a little bit differently?
You know, I think to myself, many instances where, things just get out of control. And I heard someone say recently, he said, the person who can maintain their calmness controls the situation. And it doesn't matter whether, I think he was a therapist, and he was talking about some counseling that he was doing. He mentioned that one of the techniques he would use is, if a person was getting irate with him, the louder that person got, the more quiet he became. And it really brought the octaves down, it brought the nerves down, and it set a calming feeling in that meeting. And I think when we're talking about power, it's like you said, we think power as like having an iron fist or dominating. But in essence, to me, it's just simply being able to control yourself. And there's something attractive, seductive about a person who can walk into a situation and just maintain their calmness and control their tone, their energy. Um, to me, that's very powerful. There's nothing more powerful than that. Presence.
No, I agree. So I'll give you background because you said you're not a Star Wars guy. So the Jedi and the Sith, the good versus the bad, and the
Uh-huh.
Jedi are all about trying to help everybody, but they're also about control. They're also about calmness. They're also about peace. Whereas the Sith are about control, but the opposite. They want that power and they want that. So you can see, good versus evil, whatever.
Yeah.
But in the exact same setting, like you're talking about, do you ever walk into an office and some manager, he or she's just off the cuff, just pew 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 pew, and they're just firing out and they're just whatever, and the other person's just cool, calm, and collect like it's no big deal, and you can see if it brings that person back down, or if that other person who doesn't have this control we're talking about, because the power is one thing, but this statement is controls of that power. That's a huge difference. Power is one thing. I can walk in and throw my weight around and whatever, but you're right, when somebody can control it, it can impact and own, I like that word, own that outcome. Yeah.
Have you ever seen have you ever read the book, The Pursuit of Happiness?
So
Or
I've
the
seen a movie
the
with
movie with
Simon
Will Smith?
Pegg. Yeah. Oh no, The Pursuit of Happiness with, I understand. No, I have not seen that one.
Okay, so basically it's about this guy. He has a son. His girlfriend ends up leaving, both him and the son, and he goes, I think it was to Dean Witter, and he becomes a stockbroker, right?
But it's an internship, right? He didn't
It's an
realize it
internship,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's unpaid. He's having to work all these hours. He's trying to make ends meet for him and his son. He ends up homeless for a season. But then that's the movie. But in the book, the guy's name escapes me right now.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, he tells a story about his mom and one of her boyfriends, and her boyfriend, would oftentimes just beat her. And he tells a story one time. The mom is sitting at the table reading the newspaper, and the stepdad, her boyfriend, goes into one of these tantrums, and the kid just knows his mom is about to get the beating of her life. But as this guy gets irate and he's raising his voice and he's approaching her, she just maintains this stillness. And lo and behold, that stillness is so calming. The guy ends up huffing, going outside and smoking a cigarette or something.
And walking it
But
off, right?
yeah, yeah. But it
Wow.
just speaks to she doesn't do anything. She just simply maintains her power, and that issue is resolved.
So
And
then
so
you think about life, because I do a lot of different dynamics in this conversation. So you think about life and how we own our own moments in our life. You think
yeah,
about that work setting where you're involved with coworkers or leadership, and you can own that. You talk about strangers at I've seen people de-escalate things right there at the gas station that could have been something worse, and it's ended
right,
up being a coffee and a hot dog and sitting around the corner and BSing, right? I mean, you're right. That's exactly what that
right.
looks like, and you never know, but that ability to do it is something that we all work on. We do. And I've lost my cool. I'll get my coworker. I'll get Amanda on here for a future episode. She'll tell the opposite story of what I'm about to tell. There's times when I'm cool, calm, and collect, and I'm good to go, and nothing bothers me. There's other times when whatever. It could be the morning, it could be the traffic, it could be those little things, and then that was the one thing that just set me into that next moment of ill-fated dialogue or conversation that I shouldn't have
Yeah.
had, or I got lost my cool. But that's what we work on every day. We try to do that. Here's a little side note. I've never seen The Pursuit of Happiness. I recall it once you start talking about it. Did you know that the gentleman you're talking about, the real life gentleman, is in the movie?
Yes, he's walking past at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie. I didn't know that. I just saw an article about it probably 2 weeks ago. It's funny you mentioned that. So Will
I can't
Smith
think
is
of
your
his name.
focus, right? Will Smith is your focus as he's walking down the street. And as he looks back over his shoulder towards the camera, the gentleman walking in front of the camera, which is not where your focus is actually
Yeah.
the person that was based on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't think of that guy's name.
I know.
It's gonna eat me
It
up
has
until.
escaped me. We'll Google it here when we're done after this.
Yeah.
Well, listen, William, I will tell you, one, I appreciate you coming onto the show. It's
Yes,
been a
sir.
great blast just kind of chit-chatting with you before the show and, of course, having you on right now. I wish you all the best here locally. I know that you and I are both in the same realm, and so I'd love to see the fellow brethren in regards to what we do. But at the same time, man, just talking about each of these, and you're right, I'm only about, 10 episodes in to season one, but it's just amazing how Star Wars, and like you said, man, there's some depth in here. There is
Yeah.
quite a bit going on, and just the simplicity of what they do ties into the show as well. So I do appreciate you coming, picking the one that you picked, and then being on part of the show for today and sharing your thoughts with us in the audience. So,
Thank you for having me. My
yep.
pleasure.
Hey, man, everybody, William Bailey from the Bold Firm. This is Cable Rose from Let's Talk Leadership, and I will catch you guys on the flip flop.